Hello, and welcome to this edition of Goffstown's Grizzled Grizzlies. I'm Mike McKinnon.
And I'm Eric Emmerling. And tonight we're going to be talking about downtown. The mere mention of Goffstown's Main Street program and Petulia Clark starts singing in my head. You can hear her. Just listen to the music, to the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalks where the neon signs are pretty. The lights are much brighter there. You can forget all your troubles. You can forget all your cares and head downtown. And when I was a kid, going downtown was the big event. Everyone was waiting for you downtown. The lights were much brighter and all that, and it was a fun time to be seen and to be at the Goffstown Main Street. As Mike was saying, you have to go up and down the street in your car, to be seen. And it was the place to go when I was a kid. But times have changed with Goffstown. But the advent of the mall and the introduction of the big box stores had a profound and devastating effect on downtowns across the country, throughout America. Out of control commercial development on the edges of the city centers left many downtown towns with no vacancy, crumbled infrastructures, and really little to do and very little economic base. So in 1980, Main Street America helped to restore and to build economic power downtown, helping generate more than $115 million in local reinvestment, rehabbing almost 345,000 buildings, nearly 817,000 jobs, and at least that many new businesses started, and over 2,000 committees throughout our country. Goffstown joined the Main Street program in 1999, and it's made a lasting and profound impact on our downtown area. Depending on a dedicated core group of volunteers to promote and celebrate our town, Goffstown Main Street program employs the principles of promotion, of design, organization, and economic vitality to revitalize our downtown area and help a lot of businesses thrive. The Goffstown Main Street program held a grand opening way back on August 11th of 1999, distributing balloons and popcorn while listening to, not quite Petulia Clark, but the Boot Scootin' Boomers. They're a folk group played in front of the Main Street office back then. 2 months later, this active group started to helping renovate the town common and our town hall. We had people they allowed to buy bricks to help fund this project, and the names of businesses and memorials, civic organizations, even a couple of marriage proposals were engraved on these bricks, which helped provide a nice spot for our town. About 30 volunteers donated weekends working on the site, and they included some Goffstown High School students, which was nice to see, to get involved and active. And the Commons dedication ceremony took place on October 24th with a parade. A memorial wreath was laid on our Soldiers Memorial. And we also had a performance by the 1st New Hampshire Cavalry, which was a group of guys riding horses and reenacting, a reenactment group that rides horses and plays music at the same time. The Main Street program didn't stop in just renovating the downtown like that. They started in 2002 a program called Spruce Up the Town Hall. They sold more bricks, and construction and redevelopment took place 3 years later. In 2009, the Main Street program began raising $150,000 to build a small park down on the river in Factory Street. In the summer of 2000, the Main Street program started the Old Home Day, which is now a very highly anticipated traditional event. More than 1,500 people came to the first one. They came from all over New England to see it. And this Old Home Days is held on ever since, except for 2006, and in 2007 we had a couple 100-year floods that ruined everything for us. We had to cancel them. But we renovated or went back to business in 2008 with a great activity, a very popular event. They brought what do you call it, trolleys, and we had guided trolley tours of the village in the Unkanunuk Mountains, up where they had resorts and ski slopes back around the turn of the century. They're not there anymore, but local historian Jim Boschman, it's as if he lived there during that time. He knows everything there is about it. So he was there in a conductor's uniform, and we made it for a fun and fascinating time. In addition to Old Home Day, the Main Street program provides programming to celebrate Christmas, to light the Christmas tree. First night, it's the first time they did it last year, or this 2025-26 was a great time, although it was freezing. And then they had an Uncommon Art on the Common program started in 2008, and that's where scores of local artists and artisans line their products up along Main Street. It's become really an annual event that draws a lot of people, and has really helped to make my home look a little nicer with some of the artwork we've purchased there. But the largest and the most heralded activity, of course, is the Main Street Goffstown Pumpkin Regatta and Way Off. And that's held downtown each October. And it draws thousands of people again from all over the place. The 2025 event drew 90 volunteers, hundreds of volunteers, and thousands of interested folks to come and see what goes on in our lovely town. The excitement begins when we weigh off these giant pumpkins, couple $1,000 pumpkins on Saturday. Did I say dollars or pounds? But you know what I mean.
Couple thousand pounds.
Yeah, and then on Sunday we've got the highly entertaining pumpkin boat regatta floating down the river with lots of activities there, and who knows who's going to get submerged or throw something at somebody. There's lots of other activities then. There's a big yard sale, a big book sale. There's lots of kid-friendly games. You can get a pie eating contest. There's entertainment contests or decorating contests for dogs. You can slingshot pumpkins over the river, hay rides, and there's so much more. And we're so happy that the Goffstown Main Street program has a group that provides this kind of programmatic development for us, so we have a reason to go downtown anymore. And we're honored to have two guests with us tonight to talk about the Main Street program. Tina Lawton, the board president, and Sherri Reinfurt, who happens to be the vice president, just one breath away from the office. Yes.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
So I wonder if you two could maybe take a minute to tell us about what motivated you to get involved in the Grand Street in this program, and what is it that is your role and the thing that really you feel passionate about connecting with this?
Well, we moved. We were a new family. Moved to New Hampshire in 2018. And I started working at the YMCA in Goffstown, and I was looking for a way to get more connected in the community. So my then boss connected me with the Main Street program, and I got connected with the board of directors, served as a board member, served as a treasurer for a bit, and then now as the president. So I just love what we do. I love the volunteerism, so that's why I keep hanging around.
And how long have you been doing this?
Since 2019.
Yeah, so a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. And I'm in my third year on the board of directors, and I'm, as you mentioned, I'm the vice president. I am also the treasurer. And I love Hallmark. I could watch Hallmark movies all day long, and on occasion I actually have. And so when I moved to Goffstown, I've lived in Goffstown for about 12 years, I feel like I was literally dropped into a Hallmark movie. Mm-hmm. And I moved out onto Glen Lake, and I was semi-retired at the time, and I had to drive through town every day, and I just thought I needed to get more involved. I have 5 kids and 16 grandkids, and they grew up Disney, right? All things, over the top, sprinkling magic everywhere. And I felt like I just wanted to get involved with the town. And so the board had put an ad on Facebook that just said we're looking for more board board members, and do you have event planning skills, which happens to be my forte. And so I knocked on the door, went in and had a meeting, and joined the board right then and there, and volunteered for the first pumpkin regatta. And it's just been magic ever since. And so, you know, with all of the different events, I am the self-appointed Hallmark guru. Because I feel like every event that we do needs to be an experience and make memories. And, you know, to hear people talk about when they came to the regatta, or when they came to Friday Night Under the Lights, or when they came to our brand new New Year's Eve event, and to hear, I mean, that's why we're sitting here, because you came to the New Year's Eve event.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so, you know, it behooves us to make an experience that people will remember, that they'll want to come back, and that they'll want to tell people about it. And so that's kind of why I joined Main Street, because this is just my forte.
And that's such a value she brings to the board of directors. She gets it right every single time.
Thank you.
On Hallmark, excluding that part, I think you touched on a good part with me that I think is that when we have kids and grandchildren, a lot of our friends were made because we were with our kids, you know, involved with their activities and that stuff. And they grew on, and then the grandkids came around, but they're not part-time. And so it's hard, I think, for my wife and I sometimes to meet new people or getting involved in a new organization. So we can't go sell cookies for the Maple Lab fundraisers anymore. So I think the Main Street program is a good way. I've volunteered, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times the last few events, and really enjoy it because I get to meet some people that I wouldn't know otherwise.
Right. Right.
Thank you for that.
I think it's really important for people out there to know that your participation is voluntary. And
Yes, it is.
Yes.
that is yeoman's work to be involved in that and to continue that. Thank you for that. Is there part of the program that helps out Pinardville or works with Pinardville?
Well, we promote small business, supporting small businesses, and the importance of that for the economics of a community. But our bylaws keep us, our area, our district is Main Street. So that's essentially where we focus our efforts, just because that's what our bylaws have always.
Sure.
I don't know how that evolved how that was when the organization was established, but that's how I know it now. So.
Let me add to that, though, because we did actually just start involving the greater Goffstown and into Pinardville by some of the events that we did. We just did the Scarecrow contest where it was on the lamppost, and that's open to everybody.
Yeah.
And we did the wreaths, and that's open to everybody. And so businesses can also become sponsors for advertising throughout. And even though our reach doesn't extend beyond the village, it does by their participation, because our scarecrows, the Scarecrow contest, they put it up, and they could do it as a business, they could do it as a family, they could do, because our intention is to bring community together, and community isn't just the village. Community extends to Greater Goffstown, and it extends into Pinardville. So in that respect, that's how we involve everybody.
Okay. Let's take a look back at last year. We have some snapshots of Main Street functions that occurred in 2025. I wonder if we could have one of those pulled up now and look at it.
Little trip down memory lane.
So if we could see the slide from January to June, if possible. Oh, there we go. We could talk about this. Is that your office now? Right?
That is. That is. So this is during our Christmas celebration. So Friday Night Under the Lights, is the Christmas tree celebration. And we do a window decorating contest. And that's our representation of our Christmas window.
And then the other side is a little snapshot of where Flight Coffee is right now, the old train depot stick.
Okay. I thought we had like a, can we see a different one?
Oh, I love this. I love this. So this is Friday Night Under the Lights. So this is our Christmas tree lighting ceremony. And Main Street actually is responsible for all these lights. So we hire Lights Up, and they come out and they light up the bushes. And this year, and I didn't see a picture of it, but all of the lights stay up, throughout the holiday season. But this year we also incorporated lights on the lampposts. So when you go through the village, it truly is a Hallmark village. And then we had little inflatable blow-up characters in there just to bring the magic to the kids as the kids are going through there. And then we also had, for our New Year's celebration, we had our LED firework lights that all went. And so this presentation here of the lights on the common combined with all of the other things just brought that magic. Oh, I loved it.
And every year lights up, he adds so much to it. Every year it gets better and better and better.
Now, are you going to do the Main Street program? The first night celebration? Will that become an annual event?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was her baby.
That's my baby, yes.
What I loved about it is you could celebrate the New Year's every hour.
Yep.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I love that. Picture midnight.
It's family friendly, so we wanted it to do, something during the time. And if you could only come out in the cold for a little bit, you could at least do,
Because, some of our grandchildren were too young. They're not going to stay up till midnight. So there we could go, and we did our hoo-ha at 8 o'clock.
See, therein lies the benefit of me having 16 grandkids. I know that.
I did enjoy it, and I suppose there'll be more programs and things cooking on, building around it. It's really a fun
absolutely.
event. Yeah.
Here's the beauty of the Main Street program. If we get told, because we do have to, recognize that, town has guidelines and limitations and all of that. And, if we get told we can't do something, we find a way to go through it to make it workable for everybody. So fireworks, for instance, we couldn't have live fireworks just because of the distance and all of that. I mean, there were valid reasons why we couldn't, but I wanted fireworks, so my husband and I made them. So all of those LED fireworks, my husband and I made them, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It really was. It really was.
See, I told you she brings such value.
What do you have planned for 2026?
Oh, all kinds of fun stuff. You'll just have to wait and see.
Well, we're very happy to bring back Old Home Day. Goffstown Main Street always did Old Home Day, but we had to make a decision a few years ago and operate without the executive director position. So then we had to let something go because it was too much for all the volunteers to do all the events. So thankfully the Historical Society helped us out for a couple of years, and we made a decision to dig into Old Home Day again. It's a special year. Sherri's very excited about the 250-year anniversary of our Constitution, and so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So we're excited to bring that one back. That'll be Saturday, June 6th.
Right. And so we're going to take that and expand on it, and hopefully we'll do an outdoor movie the night before. We'll have a birthday party for America and have cupcakes and popcorn and movies to kick off Old Home Day. And Old Home Day will come with, all kinds of fantastic things for the kids to do, for, to bring people into the downtown and make it, bigger than it has been in the past. We incorporated into like the pumpkin regatta. We've started doing the parades. And so hopefully we'll be able to do a mini parade for Old Home Days and just, bring in a nice big splash, right?
That's right.
So, and then, we've got our typical, we are doing the uncommon art still. We're going to do the pumpkin regatta. We do have the Friday Night Under the Lights. We will have the New Year's Eve celebration and little pop-up things just to bring people into the downtown area.
Yeah, I think we had a poster or something of 2026 events. Oh, there it is, behind our fireplace.
Yeah. So in addition to that, we will have some little pop-up events, and we'll do the scarecrow contest again. We'll do the wreaths again, wreath display, which was so wonderful because everybody has their own interpretation of what the holidays mean to them, and so for the opportunity to display that was just, as a community, it was wonderful. So.
Well, these events take a lot of coordination. Do any town departments or area businesses help coordinate and organize this?
A lot of them help in a lot of different ways. We couldn't do what we do without the select board and them letting us come to them and talk to them about what we want to do and getting permission. And we couldn't do what we do with the Pumpkin Regatta and making it safer for everyone without the fire department, without the Goffstown Police Department. So they're a huge help, a huge in-kind supporter, and they do a lot of sponsorships as well, but they do a tremendous amount of in-kind sponsorship for Pumpkin Regatta. They house all the mini pumpkins and all the apples that we do for the slingshots, and they count all the pumpkins the mini pumpkins gonna float down the river. Just bales of hay and just all sorts of things that they provide. So we just couldn't do what we do without their support on that. But there's a lot of different ways the businesses support us.
But all of the businesses, all of the businesses downtown have some play in what we do.
And the churches too have a lot of support, provide a lot of support.
Yeah, I would think the town merchants that are there they're the basis to get all those people there. They must have. Do they have specific concerns or needs, or do they work in with you, town merchants?
We try whenever we have an event, we try to do something interactive that gets people inside the business. So it's either a scavenger hunt or hunting for the elf on the shelf or something that gets people in the door.
Yep.
And then from there, it's up to the business to try and keep them in there and get them to go to the back of the store or whatever it is.
This year we did something a little bit different too. We did a pop-up within their stores.
Oh.
And so the stores that wanted to participate, we had pop-up vendors, whether they were crafters or services, go into the actual store. So now we had a whole nother population of people who maybe wouldn't have gone into that store to begin with, but they went in to see the pop-up, and oh, by the way, while you're here, you can look at, and so it was a beautiful marriage of services, and so that's something we're hoping to do a little bit more of in the coming year.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about trying to make the village a destination. So in order to do that, you have to have lots of stuff happening that's going to draw people in, things that are family friendly, So we plan to do a lot of those destination type events throughout the year in 2026.
But that too is where, to your question about Pinardville, that's an opportunity for Pinardville and the greater Goffstown area to come into the village to market themselves and have people go visit them where they are.
What would you say the biggest challenge is, other than getting the cooperation of Mother Nature, to pulling these events off?
Volunteers are very important to us. We have a core group of volunteers that are we just couldn't do what we do without them. But yes, volunteers to help plan, volunteers to help the day of the events, volunteers to help volunteer. We have lots of committees, lots of teams that help us get things done throughout the year. So that's a huge piece of making things happen.
We always get to the event because we're using this core, and we meet on a regular basis to plan these. And there's actually sometimes where we're planning 5 things at one time, but everybody's on a different committee. And we're always worried about not having enough people, but somehow the day of, everybody just shows up, and it's awesome.
We have a huge social media platform, about 6,000, a little over 6,000 followers. So that is huge for us. That we use that a tremendous amount.
Oh, okay. I think maybe I'm on a mailing list or something, because I get an email or something on my Facebook page saying, "Hey, it's time to volunteer again," so I can sign up.
Oh, there you go.
We try
I'm wondering how I got a hold of that the first time. But,
That's how we keep people connected. We want to stay on your radars.
So how would somebody want to go about volunteering if they're not on Facebook or something?
Well, the easiest way is to go to our website. There's a link on our website and a little form to fill out, and you can tell us how much you want to get involved, if you want to be on the board of directors or if you just want to do something little. That's the quickest and easiest way to do it. You can look us up, you can Google us, and you can look us up and call us and leave your information that way. There's a lot. We are not a storefront in this way, so we don't have business hours, and there's not somebody there where you could just walk in, unfortunately. But emails, connecting on watching our social media, connecting with us on our website, that sort of thing.
typically what we'll do when we post something on our Main Street page, I'll share it to other town pages.
Oh,
and
okay.
so, everybody, and it's basically word of mouth, and then when we get really desperate and we start calling people, hey, you want to help out with, right?
And there's lots of different ways. You can, if you have a lot of time on your hands and you can, you have a lot of time and you can, be on the board of directors. If you don't and you just have a little time here, but you want to contribute to your community, it's, get involved in a little, small event that we're doing or helping us planning one of the events. And that's a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. Is it a hard thing to do to close Main Street down for a weekend like that?
Well, it's a tremendous amount of coordination on the. Of course, we have to get permission from the select board, and then they have to just talk with DPW and the fire department and make sure the fire department can get where it needs to go and coordinate with us. So it's a group effort to try and decide if we're going to do that. It's a big cost for us, but the value it brings to the event. I've been at many events where I'm trying to walk down the sidewalk and there's traffic going by, and I'm usually in a hurry wherever I'm going when there's an event. But now that the street is closed, it just adds so much value to the event, and the experience is so much better. So it's worth the cost that we have to put into it. But it is a big deal.
I would imagine it would be pretty
Safety
expensive.
first.
Yeah.
But that's the hard part, because we can't close the roads for all of our events. And a couple of our events are in the evening, and and it's dark out, and and we've got so we just need everybody to be aware that there are events and happening. But we would love to be able to close it, but the reality is we can't.
I guess that's one major problem is just your Goffstown Main Street program is popular, then Main Street itself is a popular destination.
Exactly.
You can't really shut it off.
Right.
Yeah, it's such a huge thoroughway for a lot of people,
Speaking of, how do you measure success? How do you measure the impact on businesses in the Goffstown community?
Do you want to go with that one? I have.
It's a tough one. We do a lot of surveys, try to get information. It's very difficult for us to find the number of participants that come or visitors that come, because they could come from so many different directions. So we've tried to do surveys that ask for a zip code and, is this your first time or is this a long time event? So we've gotten some information that way. We do know that this, the Punkin Regatta is, the number one day of business for many of the restaurants, and some of them, they just have to close down because there's just so much, too much going on. But yeah, it's hard for us to put numbers to it because there's just not a lot of data to start with. But we've tried to find little ways to get a little bit of data.
So we've started a business development committee, and so they go around to the businesses, and we've started a networking group. We're not a chamber of commerce, but we're trying to bring the businesses themselves together so they can coordinate with each other, so that way they can measure their success as well. But how do we measure success for our events? We're here because of an event, right? We, the success of our events are the smiles on the kids' faces when they see the characters. My husband was just the Mad Hatter on stilts in the parade, and I was the Queen of Hearts. And I had a little girl, who the second day went upstairs and dressed herself in her big long red velvet dress and grabbed her heart wand so she could meet me, the Queen, on the streets, and Alice in Wonderland, and that goes back to the whole magic and just sprinkling it, and that is the measure of success, is the smile on the kids' faces and the parents who say thank you.
And I can't tell you how many times I've heard a visitor say, I fell in love with this village, the quintessential feel that you get when you're there. And I decided I wanted to move here and raise my family. I've heard that multiple times.
Right.
Multiple times.
Right. Right. Yep. I mean, the horse-drawn carriage that we did this year. I know it was a while back we did it, and then we had to stop because the company that we were using stopped doing it. And so this year we did the horse-drawn trolley from Charming Fair Farm. They came out, and that just lent a whole nother, piece. And so, success is hard to measure. except for the experience and the people talking about it and the people wanting to move here. The people that send us emails that say, when is the regatta? I want to book my flight, right?
Yeah, like
I'm bringing my family
emails
from
from
Vermont.
Washington,
When is it, right? So, and that's just to the that's to the events that we put on. And then to the businesses, it's seeing the businesses knock on each other's door and come to these events and share their experiences and what can they do, to help Main Street as well. So,
Are there any upgrades to the town common or plans for the future of things different? Now, before we answer that, I'll tell you a little story. When I grew up, you had the town common. It was nothing like it looks now, and there was a park bench. And as a teenager, you weren't supposed to hang out at the park bench, for whatever reason. But there was a gentleman, an elderly gentleman, that would sit down there. He did, dressed in a suit, pants, and a hat, very quiet. And he would talk to you if you talked to him, but he would sit on the park bench, and he became kind of a tradition that you noticed him coming down. Well, he happened to be the grandfather of our town moderator, Rodney Stark. So he is a descendant of General John Stark.
Wow.
Sorry, I just had to have my little input there.
So interesting that you started off talking about the improvements to the town common and the brick fundraisers. So apparently, and I love learning this history because I didn't know some of this stuff, and I'm still trying to find the park that's on Franklin.
Factory Street.
Factory Street, okay, all right. So we have this big conversation about it. Anyway, so back to, any improvements that we're looking at. We're actually looking at a brick fundraiser because there are broken bricks that are in the common. They are a hazard, and so we have a couple of beautification projects that we'd love to do. We'd love to do planter boxes with students, pull the students into it. So interesting that you brought that aspect into it also. And, have the students be involved with these planter boxes by class. So there's a sophomore class, a junior class, a senior class, and have them tend to the gardens with the bricks that have their names on it. And we're yet to decide where it's all going to be, and we haven't even presented this to the town yet, but we're doing it. To replace and to beautify, I mean, part of what we look for is the economic development of the area, but the beautification projects, which would be that park bench that General Stark was on.
I think that's a great idea because it was quite a few years ago, and some of those people's bricks, like you said, have cracked with just the natural surface terrain going up and down, and also the people who have passed on and who were involved.
Right.
I think it's a great idea, but probably a question that you've faced is what happens if the dam disappears?
We pivot. We pivot. Because we do know that the dam will disappear eventually, and the beautification project that's going to be happening as a result of that. And so what we know now as the Pumpkin Regatta just simply changes. It changes. It doesn't go away. I mean, it may adopt a different name because you can't have a regatta without the water. But it doesn't mean that the event is anything less than. It's just different.
Right.
So we pivot.
Yeah, the event isn't really the pumpkins and the regatta. It's the people there, and it's what's going on.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. It's the experience.
Yes.
Right? And, given our history and I know the dedication of the board and what we see as far as the town goes, it could even be more fabulous. You never know.
I think the setting of the town, what's been done with the common and around the town hall really adds to the flavor and the atmosphere there. I know once we came back from, I forget where, maybe it was some activity, maybe it was in Key West or New Orleans or whatever, that we were at, and I'm thinking, wow, people from all over the country are coming to this, whatever activity I was. And then we flew back here, and it was the Pumpkin Regatta, and I came out to it, and I'm thinking, wow, this is the same exact thing that these other big cities are doing, that we have it right here in town, that people are coming from all over the place, and they want to come here, and the setting makes the bricks and all that makes Goffstown seem like it's still back in the Revolutionary time or whatever. You really get a sense that you could be a kid back there at one time.
Well, you're talking about what we're going to do this year. So we are bringing Old Home Day back. We're working really hard to get our hands on a trolley. And Jim Boschman is all set and ready to put that conductor uniform on and do some more historical tours. So we're desperately looking for a trolley so that we can secure it. So we are looking to have that, hopefully have that running during Old Home Day.
And how awesome would it be if we actually had like characters, people like dressed in their period costumes, and so we're working on that too.
Yeah, the fun thing about many fun things about the Pumpkin Regatta is the theme that goes with it. Every year there's a particular theme, and the place you see it the most is with the boats, and they're decorated according to the theme. But over the last few years, especially with Sherri and all her magic, we've stretched that out, and you can really feel the theme almost every minute of the event. And so we wanted to bring that to Old Home Day, bring a theme into it to add, some extra experience into it. So
and that's the whole purpose of like the parade and the characters, and think Disneyland and what happens in Disneyland with the parade down Main Street, right? So we have the parade down Main Street, and we have the characters that match the theme, and it's just that sprinkling that magic again. And so with Old Home Days, it's the 250th anniversary, and so there's a theme right there. We can't say what our theme for the Pumpkin Regatta is yet because it's a secret, but it will be awesome. But along with that, we do the photo booths because we want people to create memories, and so they go into the photo booth that is themed, and families just love it.
That is a great activity. Not that I've ever done it, but
Well, you should. I'll see you in the photo booth this year.
I don't know. I would like to see myself.
I'm going to volunteer Eric to be one of the characters of the time period.
Okay, yeah. Well, when the first year we did the inflatable characters for the parade, I put a call out on social media, and we had all kinds of, just another way to bring the community that has inflatable costumes, right? And because I have so many grandchildren, I happen to have
I won't name them, but there was a select boardman in one of those costumes during Pumpkin Regatta. It was a very funny one, and I won't say the name.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about the Main Street program and its objectives, etc.?
Well, we operate on a pretty small budget, but funding is huge to us. In order for us to do this brick project, we have to do some grant funding research and ask some folks to share a little bit of their money with us to contribute. So funding is huge for us because we have one part-time person who helps us with, the office, trying to keep all the vendors registered and, communicate, and does a lot with our social media, does a lot with the website. But we are different in the sense where a lot of organizations trying to keep your staffing costs under 50% is tough. It's tough. You get into the 50s and 60% of your revenue goes to staffing. Ours is only about 35%. Only about 35% of our revenue goes to cover staffing because of all.
Right, but that also is the overhead because we do have brick and mortar. And that goes into all of those things. So the funding that we use is truly to put on the events, but not just the events too. We also give scholarships to the high school. We're actually presenting a scholarship at the beginning of June to students at the high school. We'll be giving a scholarship for the art program as well. We do grants to the businesses on Main Street. We do, different contests, like the picture was the window decorating contest. And so, we do other things besides the events that we're known for, and trying to do the business development, but there's a financial aspect to it also. So the money that we raise goes to put on the events, to pay for security, make sure that everybody is safe, and then just to give back to the community, which is the real purpose of the Main Street program.
Nationally, do you receive any direction or input, monetary or anything from the National Main Street program? Or
no, but they do offer. They have some funding opportunities that we can take advantage of too. So, but nothing particular. We'd like to make sure everybody understands that Goffstown Main Street and the Rochester Main Street are the only two Main Street programs left in New Hampshire. I think at one time there used to be 8 or 9 of them, and then there used to be like a statewide Main Street in Concord. We are the last 2 Main Street programs in New Hampshire.
And you guys are doing so well. I hope that you're going to be here forever.
We'll be here for a little longer.
Why do others fall off? Just lack of interest, or?
Well, it's
a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. You know, our particular one is known so much for its events. Like last year was our 21st golf tournament. This is going to be our 25th Punka Regatta. You know, it's such long-standing events, and so that kind of keeps us going. But you know, funding is a huge, you know, and many of them, you know, to support an executive director takes a lot of money these days, and so. You know, and there's not a lot of people out there crazy like us that want to volunteer.
Willing to volunteer, right?
20, 30 hours a week, you know, to do what we do. Yes. But
well, it must be hard to find even defined grant programs that would be working.
Well, you know what, it's interesting though, because that is a focus because of the beautification projects, the economic development, the historical, helping with the dam removal and the beautification projects and all of the different things that we want to do. There actually are quite a few grants out there, so we're spending a lot of time researching them, and then we'll be applying for different grants. I mean, even for like the Old Home Days, there's the 250 America offers a grant for small town communities to bring their communities together. So you just have to look for them, and you know, there are people out there, there's philanthropists out there all the time that are looking to invest in small town communities, which is exactly what we are.
Hopefully one's watching.
I know.
You alluded to, somebody did, the Goffstown High School students. That seems like a possible source that you could utilize, because a lot of students need to do a community project.
Right.
And
last year we had the student council help in a couple of different ways. I asked one group to say, can you beef up the pie eating contest? You know, just beef it up a little bit, make it, you know, exciting. It's the same old thing every year. And boy, did they answer that call. They did such a fabulous job. Yeah. And then we had
the junior class. The president of the junior class came and said, hey, we need some volunteer hours. How can we help? And we said, we will put together for our Friday night under the lights, we'll put together a craft. You guys just need to run the craft area. Oh, and by the way, you need to wear elf outfits. I'll give you the outfits. And they're like, okay.
They're open to anything.
So there's a couple of them put on the inflatable costumes, a couple of them put them on the elves, and they ran that project, and it was like, we didn't have to worry about it because they were on top of it. So yeah, students are amazing.
That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
That's great.
Last year, I'm most passionate about the volunteerism that happens there. We have some core volunteers that really do a tremendous amount. So many of them plan multiple events, and many of them are there during the events from the time they're there in the dusk. I mean, in the early morning, and then cleaning up after everybody's gone. But we want to make sure everybody understands that it's so important. What we do, and the volunteers, we couldn't do it without them. So we appreciate all of them, everybody else who.
Well, there's
so many. I can't even. We don't have enough time to say them all.
I know. There's some that can plan, but they can't participate the day of, and that's amazing. There's some that can't plan but can participate the day of, and that's amazing. Mm-hmm. So no matter who has what time, we can use it.
I think that the magic that goes on in a program, it's almost like you watch the pumpkin regattas, like the duck floating along the river, and you think it works so well and everything's seamless, but underneath you have these feet paddling. Oh, yeah. And it sounds like that the magic that you discover, that you find, that comes in the program, more than likely comes from finding or igniting the passion in your volunteers, that find something that they're of interest in, and then you cite that. And I would think, as a leader of your program, when you see the smiles on the faces of your spectators, but when you have the passionate volunteers that are really coming alive and feeling a part of their community as a result of working with you, I think that would be cool. One
of our board members grew up in this town, and now she's a a very young, she's one of our youngest board members because she went to all the events when she was little, and now she's, part of making them happen for little people now.
Yeah.
to experience.
It's a very rewarding feeling. I mean, it's like, while you're planning it, and the day of, it's like, but then when it's all done, you can just, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. And my husband even says the same thing. So he's not on the board, but he kind of is because he's
Of
attached
course
to
he
me.
is. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like, it's a family affair. But even he says, that, to be involved in something to the aspect that he is a very rewarding feeling for him as well. And to our young board members who grew up in this town, we have somebody who actually joined the board. He came in to do the pumpkin regatta because he loved the regatta. And so he came in as a volunteer for the regatta, and now all of a sudden he sits on the board, right? And so that's how it happens.
Yes.
But the problem is that once you get on the board, we won't let you leave.
Yeah, I'm proof of that.
Well, it's a wonderful pay it forward philosophy, and the joy that you get afterwards. I don't think people could understand that until you
Right.
do something like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I know I'm a multi-generational enjoyer of my children, and my grandchildren now are currently enjoying it. And thank you both very much for everything you do for the town of Goffstown, especially for the Main Street program. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
pleasure.
And thank you
Very
for having us
appreciate
tonight. This was lovely, and we appreciate it.
We appreciate you being here. And I guess that's it, right?
I
We're
think
out
so.
of time? Yeah.
And that's a wrap.
So we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks very much. And don't forget to plant your pumpkins early.